difference is sins by default and sins that I habitually practice. So we're never going to be delivered by the default of being a sinner saved by grace. By default, I'm not perfect. Perfect means I'm wearing the right shirt, the right pants, saying the right words at the right time. That's perfection. But habitual sins we should be delivered from. That I have no taste to do this over and over and over again. So when it comes to being delivered, it says, you know what? I don't even want to do this anymore. But am I gonna mess up sometimes? Yeah. Not in habitual sin, but will I get mad? Will I envy at times? Will I be jealous at times? We'll never get over those temptations because we go through ebbs and flows. There's moments when you're stronger than you are other times, but we shouldn't be so weak that we're habitually sinning, like we're practicing it, that we're doing it with the understanding that it's wrong. And that's where most people mess up. They're like, I know it's wrong, but I'm still going to do it. Because they have a false perspective or perception on God, because they look at God one-sided. He's a loving, gracious God. So I can continue in sin because that love and grace abounds. The same Paul that said I got a thing but for my side says, God forbid. And many people are sinning because they think God is like just your good friend that we could just use and be like, I'm just going to cheat on you. I'm just going to do whatever I want. God said there's wrath that's being compounded on every person that practices unrighteousness. Meaning that it's only because of what Jesus did that's keeping this thing from being lit up. And so when we understand that God is gracious and loving, but he's also a wrathful God, a God that's highly upset, a God that's like, y'all better be glad I love y'all because I would have lit y'all up years ago. We got to understand that God is both loving and angry. Not angry at us, but angry at the fact that we're allowing this sin to keep us from becoming in the image of his dear son. So when you understand he's not upset with me, per se. I would say, no, let me change that. He's not like, oh, I hate you and I'm upset with you. He's just saying, why are you allowing this thing to mess you up? Have you ever met a loved one that you knew for a fact has a disease, but they keep eating the same foods? Doesn't that make you angry? You love them, but you're like, why are you still doing this? That's the type of sentiment God has against us when we're still habitually sinning. He's like, shouldn't you have learned by now? So we'll be delivered from sinning habitually, meaning that we're not sinning because of what this sin can bring to me. But will we make mistakes? Of course. We're going to always make mistakes. That's why I tell people that in a balanced way, because some of us are a perfectionist. I'm guilty. Where I'd be like, God, I'm going to dot every I and cross every T. I'm going to make sure I walk righteous. I'm going to do it. I'm going to show the world that it can be done. I realize not even the greats can make it done. So when I understand that neither can I deliver myself from habitual sin, nor can I deliver myself from perfection, therefore the only option I have is to rest in his saving work, so that he'll dot at my I's and cross my T's, and eventually I'm not even falling in those sins anymore. But what Paul was talking about was, oftentimes God puts you at a state where you won't leave him. There's a verse in the Bible that I love dearly. I wish I could quote exactly where it is. He said, God, don't make me too rich that I leave you. Don't make me too poor that I steal. So God keeps us in the middle. Sometimes you're like, dang, God, where my millions? Where my money? God's like, I'm not going to give you too much money because I know you'll leave me, but I won't make you too broke that you'll steal. He'll keep you at the level in the in-between. So, and that's what he did to Paul. If Paul was loose and out there, he probably wouldn't have got to those 7 churches. But God kept something there to keep him humble.